More Fantasy Flight goodness, this time for one of my favorite solo games, one that's taken more hours in my iPad than I am prepared to admit, and a fair few on the table. Unseen Forces for Eldesign. Eldesign designed by Richard Launius, master of cooperative games, and a lovely, lovely little thing. Now, is this expansion worth the £20, about $30 that you have to part with in order to get your hands on it? Let's take a look at that. Welcome to the GMS Magazine unboxing videos. Eldesign really became one of my favorites when it came out because it's a fairly simple game to play, it's very tough indeed, and the cooperative aspect to it is something that really attracts me. It looks beautiful and the conversion to the iPad is absolutely excellent. So when Richard Launius told me months ago that he was going to be working on an expansion, I was really excited, and therefore when I saw it at my local shop, I was really up for it. The price, £19.99, which is about $27 at the time, something in those lines, 29, something like that. Very interesting price for what it is. It's a small box, but before I open it and take a look at what's inside, I'm going to read what it contains because it's pretty amazing. It contains one rule set, one white and one black die, 4 Ancient One cards, 8 Investigator cards, 40 Adventure cards, 2 Otherworld cards, 4 Entrance cards, 8 Blessed Cursed cards, 39 Common, Unique, Spell and Ally cards, 29 Mythos cards, 8 Replacement cards, 8 Investigator markers, 14 Sanity tokens, 7 Stamina tokens, 6 Doom tokens and 16 Monster markers. In here. Damn, that's amazing. Let's take a look inside though and see whether they look any good and what they are like, because I really hope it's going to be really good because I like this game. So box, as usual, laminated, good quality, beautiful illustration, just what you would expect from Fantasy Flight because they're very good. Mini catalog. Hey, with Relic and Star Wars, the card game. Cool stuff. Yay. The expansion overview and the rules. You know, simple so far, explaining everything what it is and how it can be played. Nothing much to say about it before reading it, of course. As usual, the rules look gorgeous. Fantasy Flight does have a tradition of making really good looking rulebooks that don't read all that well, more often than not, unfortunately. So I don't know what this is going to read like. Hopefully it will read well enough. That would be very nice indeed. But so far no complaints about it. The paper is quite thick. No, it's just paper. The printing is very good. The font is easy enough to read. I'm happy. Tokens. Pretty much what you would expect from Fantasy Flight once again. You know, the usual colourful, well laminated. Bit on the small side, the Doom tokens, but that's fine-ish. Quite thick, which again, it really is what you would expect from Fantasy Flight. I love them, but then I'm a big fan of this game, so I would really like it. The different monsters and enemies. Tokens for the characters, sanity tokens, your health tokens, the challenge ones, for when you get your more monsters into the locations, etc. Very good. The small cards, which I have to say I'm not a big fan of because they tend to be quite fiddly to work with, but that's fine. A bit on the thinnish side, I have to say, but they're still laminated, which means that if you're having your crisps or what have you that you're eating, they will get less dirty, which is very nice indeed. And they all come with a small, tiny little icon in here in the bottom right corner, which means that the cards are from the expansion. So if you want to mix the whole thing together in the same box, you're not going to get confused about it, which is very nice and is quite standard. So we have the new Blessed and Cursed rule, which adds a black die or adds a white die to your roll. It's really nice. Your midnight tokens, midnight effects, sorry. This is what happens when there is a midnight. Very scary when that happens in the game, it really is. More items. That's what happens, what they do. Spell cards to help you destroy the forces of darkness. Your weapons, more items that you can find in your adventures and will aid and help you. And some characteristics and features. The layout is the same that you were expecting Elder Sign, so the whole thing should be very familiar. And since you need Elder Sign to play this game, if you have this, it should be familiar enough for you. So that's fine. There's nothing innovative. There's nothing new to the cards. And we get this massive deck of new cards. New locations, loads and loads. And loads of them. You know, the one thing about Elder Sign is that the whole thing is meant to be taking place in one museum. And I think the museum must be the biggest building on Earth with so many places. But in fairness to Fantasy Flight, although it's a little bit incongruent, you know, to expect that a museum is going to have 100 or 150 locations, however many they are all very congruent with what you would expect to meet in a building that type. So I'm not going to begrudge them. The baddies. Safagua, whatever you call it. Shoot the mail. Well, difficult to pronounce these things. Oh, Glarky. Both. Hey, look. More locations that you can go away. The Plateau Lang. I want to go there. Yippies. And then you have the characters with the starting items, the special ability, their sanity threshold, and their health threshold. Very atmospheric. They're really, really good. Oh, Caroline Fern, the psychologist. Hey, hello. She's in the iPad. And Vincent Lee, he's also on Monday as well. I like that. And then you get your new locations, entrances that you can find. You see, I could give you my impressions of the whole thing, but I would say that, seriously, for the amount of money you pay for this is fantastic. How much new replayability it's added is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Oh, sorry, I forgot. The 2 dice. Black die, white die. With your horror tokens. Ta-da! There you go. That's it. Now go buy it. Seriously, this is brilliant. The amount of money you pay for this, more than worth it. Really is more than worth it. And now, if you may excuse me, I am going to go and save the world and roll some dice. See you later.